Brothers and sisters, maybe just give us 30 seconds, inshallah, in case anybody wants to join. We're ready to go here, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome once again, brothers and sisters, to virtual Masjid Al-Farooq. And we have a program here with Sheikh Malik Clare once again. And if you recall, Sheikh was going to do part 2 of his Wednesday lecture, and his lecture is going to be on Hasten to the forgiveness of Allah. This is part 2. Before I turn it over to the Sheikh, just a reminder that Saturdays and Sundays programs will start at 7 p.m. inshallah. So tomorrow we have Sheikh Abdurrahman Murad joining us from Alberta. He's a graduate of Al-Imam University in Riyadh in Sharia and has a master's from the Islamic University of Malaysia. So he's with us tomorrow at 7 p.m. inshallah. So back to Sheikh Malik Clare. Those of you who don't know him, Sheikh Malik Clare was born without sight. He accepted Islam in 1996, alhamdulillah, and he studied Islam under those circumstances, and alhamdulillah he teaches and travels the world to give Islamic lectures and to give da'wah. So I'll turn it over to Sheikh Malik Clare. Hasten to the forgiveness of Allah, part 2. Jazakum khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakum Allah khairan. Inna alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه قال الله تعالى في القرآن العظيم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال الله تعالى أيضا يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Amma ba'd. We start by praising Allah as usual, and as always we praise Him, we seek His forgiveness and we seek His assistance. We seek refuge with Allah from the evil that resides within our own selves and from the bad consequences of our own deeds. Whomsoever Allah has guided, there is no one who could lead that person astray. And whomsoever has been abandoned by Allah due to their own desire, no one can guide them after Allah has abandoned them. We bear witness that there is nothing worthy of worship besides Allah. He is one, unique in His oneness, complete in His perfection, and incomparable to His creation. We further bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi is His last and final messenger, a messenger in a long line of messengers, beginning with Adam and ending, of course, with the messenger of Allah, Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and after him there shall be no more. As to what follows, I wanted to do a brief recap of what we talked about on Wednesday, and then I'll head right into the part 2, inshallah. We were talking about hastening and how we spend our lives basically rushing to get from point A to point B, and my encouragement was to hasten to the forgiveness of Allah and a Jannah that is as wide as the heavens and the earth. And this is found in Surah Al-Imran, Al-Imran, ayah number 1, in around the 130 mark. I'm going to cover these next, probably from 130 to 130, 3, inshallah, if not more than that, today. وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. That has been prepared for those who are conscious of Allah. And this has been I guess, a running topic for me for a while, because I think that a lot of the issues that we have, the remedy for them starts internally. The idea that we're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't really enter our hearts as much as it probably should. If it did, we would not be in the situation that we are in. And I'm not talking about like I am indirectly talking about that, but I want us to take this as an internal reminder, as a specific reminder to us, because when I say that we wouldn't be where we are, a lot of the knee-jerk reaction goes to blaming other people. So we'll start talking about leaders, and we'll start talking about the ulama, and we'll start anyone except for us. You know what I mean? Anyone except for us as a people. You know, we blame everybody else, so we don't have to do it. We blame millionaires so that we don't have to donate. We blame rulers so that we don't have to be just in our own homes. We blame ulama so that we don't have to study. We blame lots of people for lots of different things. And Allah has clearly said that He will not change the people until they change what is anfusihim, in themselves. So may Allah allow us to internalize these things and allow us to remember Him as often as we should. But He describes a group of people, and may Allah make us from among them. He talks about them. He says, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. They are people who, first of all, they obey Allah and His Messenger. That's another ayah before that. But He describes them. He says, الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. That they give in times of ease and in times of difficulty. We might think that when people have something, that it's a good time to give. And it is a good time because it's when you have. But it isn't always mentally easy, because wealthy people, very wealthy people, and of course it's never all of anyone, but a good number of very wealthy people, even though they might have, they may not give. And the answer to that is because they've forgotten the reality of those who don't have. They tend to be incredibly dismissive of people. So wealthy people will say things like, well, I worked hard and I got it. How come they can't do it? So they won't give. So Allah rewards people when they give, when times are quote unquote easy, when they have. Because wealth sometimes, if it's in the hands of an irresponsible person, brings arrogance to that person. So they seem to think that they're above everyone and they don't have to do anything. It's like the 3 men. If you know the hadith of the 3 men, the leper, the bald man, and the blind man. The leper wanted to be cured of his leprosy, and Allah did that for him, and Allah gave him property, and Allah gave him wealth. But when he was tested, he refused to give, and he said things like, I inherited this myself, and this is mine. And this is how he was. And the same with the bald man. Allah cured him of his baldness and gave him property. And he said the same thing, essentially. He said, this is mine. I inherited this from my family. And he refused to help. The blind man, he was, mashallah, my people, he was on a different level. And he said that Allah gave me before and He can give me again after Allah had healed his blindness and given him property. And he was more than willing to help. In fact, he said, take whatever you wish. Allah gave me before and He can give me again. So it's a longer hadith that I paraphrased for the sake of time, but it's something that we need to learn how to react to wealth. And the fact that Allah has given you in times of ease should make you more grateful, you know. And it's a common statement that people make, that Allah gives and forgives while we get and forget. And that's very true. He gives and forgives while we get and forget. But what about those who don't have anything? Darra, in times of difficulty. Interestingly enough, that they tend to be the ones in general who should withhold, but they actually don't, right? Usually you'll get, when you go to the masjid, you'll get donations from people, and sometimes it'll be just like $2 or $3, and you think it's not much. Even you the donor may think it's not that much. I'll tell you a story that I tell, and I love to tell it. And you may have heard it from me before, and if you have, then mashallah, it's a refresher. I was in the city of Albuquerque, New Mexico, of all places. You know, there's a famous TV show that was filmed there, and I'm sure you guys know it. But it was in Albuquerque, New Mexico that I was. And this brother came to me, and he gave me 3 bills. So, of course, in Canada, where I'm from, we have coins for things. We have a $2 coin and a $1 coin. So immediately my head went to, mashallah, this is either 3 5s or more than that. So mashallah, we took the donation, and I went outside, and the brother with me, I showed it to him, and he said it's 3 $1 bills. So I was like, all right, jazakallah khairan, may Allah reward the brother. And I didn't really think anything of it. We went on about our day, and the next day we were planning to go film at a state park in New Mexico. And we went to film, and they had no bank machine. They had no, I guess, change, to process the change. They had no person there. And you had to pay a fee to get in the park. And it's on the honor system. And I didn't want to, just walk in, because it's an honor system where you pay and you go in. And the amount that you had to pay was exactly $3. So this brother gave the $3, and he didn't really think anything of it. He had a $3, and it might have been a lot to him, actually. I shouldn't say what he would have thought, because I don't know. But it really helped us for that whole day. We could film all the videos we needed to film within that day and post them to YouTube and so on and so forth. So never think that your donation is small. Never think that it's small. If that's what you can afford and that's what you're capable of doing for some organization, whether it be Al-Farooq, because of course it's a virtual masjid, but the expenses are very real. So we want to make sure that they have what they need, inshallah, or any other group of organizations that I've been working with over the years. Don't ever think that your donation is insignificant. It isn't. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to purchase paradise with shakr tamam. So these people, they give in times of ease and they give in times of difficulty. وَكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ. Brothers, this one is for both of us, but for the brothers and the sisters, but كَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظَ, to control their anger. When you're in the house, and especially now, it's easy to get kind of ill-tempered. But the people who Allah is describing in these ayat, they control their anger. Allahumma ja'alna minhum. May Allah make us from among them. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was advising a young man, and he told him, La taghdab, and he said it 3 times to him, not to get angry. And he said again, not to get angry, not to get angry. Anger can, a little bit of anger, 2 minutes of anger can do 20 years of damage. This whole idea of being angry and being upset and being excited and hostile. And some brothers are really, and some sisters even are really, they just have anger issues, and they have to get that looked after, because they control their anger. They control their wrath. It's not that they don't have it. It's not that they don't have it. And this is the thing about these people, is that they don't, it's not that they're perfect, angelic, human beings that don't feel anything. And we're going to see what happens to them later on in the same ayat to describe them, is that they have anger. They're angry people. They get upset. They're, in a natural way. But they have learned through the worship of Allah and through the practice of remembering Allah to control that anger. They control it. They kind of keep it to themselves, or they channel it in a useful way. So if the state of the ummah is making you angry, instead of yelling at people on social media or arguing with people who may differ with you, that the way they control their anger is they get involved with an NGO, or they form one to help the situation of the people that they're angry about. All right. So if you're angry about Palestine, then you're going to join an NGO and actually help, instead of yelling and screaming and making a bunch of noise on Twitter. If you're angry about the situation of the Muslims in Toronto or in Chicago or in New York City or in anywhere that they are on the planet, instead of getting excited and getting angry and getting volatile, hostile, and vitriolic, we channel these emotions into something better for us. So the anger becomes, instead of a fire, it becomes a fuel, right? Fire, as you know, can be used to heat houses, and it can also be used to burn them down. And we're trying to take that anger that we have and channel it into a positive way. So we're not attacking allies, and we're not just attacking people in general. We're trying our best to put things together and put things forward so that people can actually have a better life and a better situation. You don't just yelling at people and screaming at them doesn't really help anyone. It doesn't help you either. It leads to stress, and it leads to issues that, complicated internal issues that can actually kill you. Sometimes people can have a heart attack and die because they're angry. So they control their anger. And may Allah help us and allow us to do that. And they forgive the people. They pardon the people. So when someone hurts them, and I want you to think about that. If someone hurts you, wrongs you, you have been given the power to pardon them if you wish. Now, that doesn't necessarily, see, this is another thing too, is that we tend to have a misconception of forgiveness, where if we forgive someone, it just means they skip happily off into the sunset, unrequited and undealt with. They don't necessarily do that. You're forgiving them. Allah may not forgive them, and Allah may reward you tremendously. And to those who wrong people, forgiveness is not your right. It's not your right. You don't have a right to be forgiven as a Muslim. You don't. People should forgive. Sure, they should. But that doesn't mean they necessarily have to, and Allah didn't make it wajib on them to do so. It's very rewardable and it's very commendable, and Allah rewards the people who forgive. Ar-Rahimun yarhamuhum ar-Rahman. The people who, those who don't show mercy aren't showing mercy. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to forgive you specifically. And this is the thing that some people prey on. So they do damage to other people, and they wrong them and they hurt them, and they say, brother, Allah has told us to forgive. Yes, He has. But He also told us not to wrong people. And He didn't make it wajib on the people to forgive. It's not. It's a privilege. It's something that the people should do. And if they don't, then we have to deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. And even if they do, we still may have to do that. It's just that we're leaving it to Allah to deal with. When we forgive people, it's not that we're saying we don't care what you do to us. It's that you're letting them, you're evicting them from your head, and you're evicting them from your heart, and you're evicting them so you don't automatically get excited when you see that. You don't automatically get angry to the point where your blood boils, right? And you become incoherent because you see this person that hurt you. You've left it to Allah, and Allah may punish this person a lot. You really don't know. But you yourself are saying that I want you out of my head, I want you out of my heart, and I want you out of my day. So you're asking them, you're asking Allah, you're telling Allah that you forgive this person in order to remove them from you yourself. Allahu yuhibbul muhsinin, and Allah loves those doers of good. Allahumma ja'alna minhum. May Allah make us among them, because forgiving people is not easy. It really isn't easy, and that's why it's so highly rewarded, because it's not easy. Aisha radiallahu anha was slandered by someone who Abu Bakr Siddiq was financially taking care of. Imagine, someone's financially taking care of you, and you go after his daughter, thinking that that's okay. How do you possibly think that that's okay? And you make up slanderous remarks about her, and you say things about her. Any brother who has a daughter knows that there's something about your daughter that's a big, someone attacked your daughter, your son, he can be defended as well, but we tend to jump on alert and get highly offended about anyone who's talking about our daughter. And this is as it should be. You should have ghira for the women in your household. And Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, he refused to donate any more to this person. He refused to give him any more. And Allah, of course, revealed the ayah concerning that. And Abu Bakr went back to giving, because he's giving for the sake of Allah. He's not giving for that person. So forgiveness is for Allah. It's not for them necessarily. They might be punished and they might be dealt with accordingly. But when you forgive, you're allowing that hatred to leave from you yourself. And we all have people that we need to forgive, myself included. And may Allah help us to grow into people who do that. Not because we don't want these people to be dealt with, but because we don't want them to occupy space in our head rent-free. Allah loves those people who do excellence, ihsan. Have you ever thought about ihsan before? To do something above and beyond, to do something well. For example, if someone lends you money, someone lends you $100 and they say, you know what, I'm going to lend you $100, bro, you need it. And they give that to you. You have the obligation to return that 100 to them. They have a right to it eventually. And if you just give them back their 100, you send it through PayPal, or you go to them and you give it to them, if you can do that, that's fine. And that's all. What you've done is what you're required to do. But have you ever thought, this person lent me the 100 when I needed it? They lent me the 100 when I was struggling. They lent me the 100 when I had my back to the wall, as it were. Have you ever thought, why don't I do something of ihsan? And instead of just bringing it to them like that, I'm going to take them out to dinner and I'm going to give it to them and thank them properly. That's ihsan. When you decide that you're going to take that person out to dinner, you don't have to do that. It's not agreement. No, it's absolutely not. But when you do that, it's a level of ihsan. It's going above and beyond things. It's doing things that are above and beyond the call of duty, as it were. Like if someone asked you to do their laundry, if they need you to do that, you do it and just throw it in a basket and give it to them. Well, you've done it. But what if you fold it and iron it if you can, and do all these different? This is the general, or the very, I guess, basic meaning of ihsan. They do things above and beyond. They go above and beyond the call of duty in their things. But listen to this ayah. This is an interesting ayah. وَالَّذِينَ فَعَلُوا الْفَاحِشَةَ أَوْ ظَلَمَ أَنفُسَهُم. When they wrong themselves, committing a fahisha is like a big thing, a huge, it's not just like little, a major thing. فَعَلُوا الْفَاحِشَةَ. They've done something tremendously huge. You would think to yourself, well, if they're muhsineen, why are they doing that? If they are, supposed to be good people, why are they getting angry? Right? They have anger in them. They control it. Why is it that they've done this huge thing that they're not supposed to do? They've wronged themselves. They do something incredible when they do that. ذَكَرَ اللَّهُ فَاسْتَغْفِرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ. They remember Allah immediately, and Allah forgives sins. Now, what does this mean? If we are supposed to be religious, quote unquote, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're supposed to be infallible, that we're supposed to be perfect, that these people are good, but they make mistakes. Now, this fahisha doesn't mean that they hurt people and oppress them and abuse them and wrong them. It's the sin is between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they've done something wrong. It's interesting how you would think that if they're supposed to be so religious, then they should be perfect. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. Allah said that about them. He said, subhanAllah, he said that these people are people who, when they've done wrong, when they've committed moral things, when they've done fahisha, that they remember Allah, and Allah would forgive their sins. Then Allah is the only one who forgives sins. It doesn't mean that they're perfect, and none of us are perfect. And it doesn't matter what kind of clothing you wear. It doesn't matter how, beautiful your Quran voice is, and your qira'ah and your tilawah. Yes, we should amplify, and we should try to better our characters and improve them. But at the same time, when we make a mistake like that, Allah forgives. Allah forgives these mistakes. And subhanAllah, it's important that we remember that. It's important that we understand that we don't have to be perfect necessarily. We don't have to get things right all the time. That the doers, those people who are muhsineen and muttaqoon, they will make mistakes and they will fall. And khayra khata'un tawwabun, as Muhammad said, the best of you, kullu Adam khata', all the children of Adam make mistakes. And the best of those who make mistakes are the ones who repent. So even though someone can do something really bad, and you can think that this person is really a bad person, doesn't necessarily mean that they are, especially if they've asked Allah to forgive them and their sin hasn't involved harming another person between them and Allah, and they've asked Allah to forgive them. So may Allah allow us all to be among these people. And I wanted to just touch upon them briefly, because we are in the last 10 days of Ramadan, and we want to give us that little push to become people who do righteousness. We want to be able to hasten to the forgiveness of Allah. Jazakumullahu khairan. We're going to stop, inshallah, and if we have any questions, we can deal with those as well. يقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. جزاكم الله خير.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Barakatuh.
Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh, for that informative lecture.
What's the time?
It is 7:57.
Oh, my, 3 minutes out. I don't even do this with the clock. I don't have a clock in front of me. It just kind of, alhamdulillah, it just kind of goes that way.
Perfect timing, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Okay,
Allah
brothers and sisters.
We do what we can and Allah does what we can't. Right?
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, the Shaykh has a few minutes, I think.
Exactly.